Today we're going to be talking about the Leafboard Plus, which is an electric skateboard that was first started out on Kickstarter during their first iteration. Now they've got the second 2019 edition, the Leafboard Plus. So I've actually owned and ridden a lot of electric skateboards in the past, such as the Acton Blink S2 and the Arcboard. The Acton Blink S2 was a great electric skateboard. I really enjoyed how big it was and how stable it was to ride. I also have the Arcboard, which is my daily driver. I use it every day. I really like how small and compact it is, but I was kind of looking for something that's a little bit bigger. And I also wanted to be able to change the speed. Sometimes I don't want to go all the time 0 to 30 kilometers per hour really fast. Sometimes I want to take it chill and just kind of have a slower speed. So the ability to change the acceleration and the max speed was really important for me in my next skateboard that I picked. So the Leafboard is pretty unique. It's still a very super portable, compact skateboard, very light still, around 10 pounds. Not as light as the Arcboard, which is 8 pounds, but it's still a lot lighter than the most electric skateboards of that caliber, such as the WowGo Mini S2 and the Own boards and all those other types of boards. Those boards are around 16 pounds, and they're also a lot bigger and chunkier. I think the Leafboard nailed it in terms of getting the perfect balance between stability, the ease of ride, and also the compactness. I really do think it kind of is the best of both worlds. So throughout this video review, I'm going to be comparing the Leafboard Plus with the Arcboard because they're very similar in size and in terms of how they perform. Now, I want to say right off the bat, when I got on the Leafboard, I was extremely impressed with how amazing the board feels on the feet. Something about having a wider deck. It's not even that much taller than the Arcboard. It's not that much. It's definitely wider than the Arcboard, and it's definitely the length of it is just, I think, about 2 inches more. I don't think it's really those attributes. I think it's the width of the board that really adds a lot of stability. So when I'm riding it, I feel very stable. My feet are not hanging off the edge like on the Arcboard. So I really like the design. So when I'm riding the Leafboard Plus, I'm just like, okay, this feels like paradise, because I'm so used to riding such a skinny electric skateboard that coming to a wider deck is just, it feels amazing. One thing I really want to note is the wheels are actually very soft and slightly bit bigger. I think it's about 2 millimeters bigger than the Arcboard's wheels. And the Arcboard wheels, I feel, are a little bit harder, and they kind of feel kind of hard. They feel kind of not so comfortable when you run over bumps and stuff like that. When I'm using the Leafboard Plus, it feels like very soft, very kind of like jello in a good sense. I feel very confident riding over bumps, not because of the wider deck and obviously bigger and whatever, all that stuff, but also the wheels, I think, contribute to an overall more comfortable and stable and safer ride, in my opinion. Also, one interesting thing is I think the motor is not as powerful as the Arcboard motor. The Arcboard motor is a beast, but I find that the acceleration curve is actually very good, in my opinion, because I don't like how Arcboard, like when I press the acceleration, it feels really very fast. Like the torque kicks in and I'm speeding up really fast. I kind of like a slower acceleration. So I don't know if it's just the way the electronics are built like that. But for me, I personally just like the slower acceleration. To me, it feels more safe and more comfortable. Whereas on the Arcboard, it's like you kind of fly off, and sometimes the board kind of shoots under your feet. With the Leafboard Plus, I haven't had any of those issues. So I really like the acceleration curve. And in terms of braking, it's the same thing. It's a bit softer in the braking department. Nothing too bad. I do recommend, if you're going really fast, when you come to a stop, you'll probably want to take off one foot just to go to a complete stop. But the brakes are also very smooth. And one interesting thing to note is that the motor of this Leafboard Plus is actually very quiet. It's almost similar to a hub motor when I was riding my Blink S2. The Arcboard is pretty noisy, and I like that sound. I like the sound it makes when it's like accelerating, and it feels like it's working really hard. But with the Leafboard Plus, together with the soft wheels and the more quiet motor, it kind of just glides. It's kind of like if I think about it, like a manta ray floating in the sea. It's definitely a lot smoother in that regard. So one of the most important features for me is, like I said before, being able to switch between beginner to intermediate to advanced modes. And but what I mean by that is just the speed, the max speed and acceleration. So if you're a beginner, you probably want to go up to 15 kilometers per hour. If you're intermediate, you probably want to go around 25. And then when you're pro, you can go like 30 plus kilometers per hour. And this allows you to do that. And it's super simple. So that transitions into the next thing I want to talk about, and that's the remote control. And my goodness, this control is absolutely amazing. I mean, compared to the Outtakes remote control, this is like night and day. I'm just thoroughly impressed with how well designed this controller is. In terms of like the feel of it, it's very ergonomic. It's shaped to your hand, as you can see here. This feels very ergonomic. There's actually an OLED display on this that actually gives you very useful information, such as the battery status, which is amazing. It gives you the battery status of the lithium-ion battery inside here and inside your actual skateboard, which, holy cow, that's really cool that you can actually see that. This technology is amazing. It gives you also other types of information. You can configure, you can actually toggle the lights on and off. You can actually change the speed, which to me is a really nice feature. Sometimes you want to go slow, so you switch it to speed 1 or 2. And sometimes you want to go fast, you're in a safer place, the road is smoother. You can just quickly, with I think it's like 2 taps, tap twice, and you just switch between modes. It's very intuitive, very comfortable, very light. There's no battery, it's fully rechargeable. It actually takes USB-C, which is pretty amazing. It's not micro USB. Whereas this one, it uses 2 AA batteries. You have to screw it and open it up to change it and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't give you much information. It just has one mode. It's 0 to 30 kilometers. So sometimes if you hit slightly this remote, it might just shoot under your feet, which is kind of scary. This has like I said, better acceleration curve. But honestly, one of the biggest things is how light it is. Us electric skateboarders, we have to carry this all the time in our hand. It's like an extension of our arm. And having this being light, having the remote control be light, is super important. I think it's underrated how nice it is, because you're carrying groceries, or you want to open your door, you have a key, you have this remote dangling off you. It's not like kind of annoying. It's like just part of your life. It's kind of just an extension of your arm. So being light is very important. This is too bulky, too simple, and yeah, that's all I have to say about the remote controller. Good job, great job on the remote control. Oh, one more quick thing about the remote control is that there's even haptic feedback. So if you get disconnected, which I've never been disconnected, but I can turn off the board by myself and then it becomes disconnected. It actually vibrates in your hand. So it's just all these little attention to detail on the remote control is quite amazing. So a couple other cool things about this board is that it actually has lights, as I mentioned before, and you can actually toggle the lights on and off from the remote control, so you don't have to have them on all the time. You don't want to attract attention, that's great. However, it does turn on all the time when you brake, and I don't think you're able to disable that feature. So I guess people behind you, they can see when you're braking, and maybe that's good for cyclists who want to anticipate what you're doing. So that's kind of cool. The lights are pretty neat. However, there is no front LED lights. It's just the rear lights, and they're red. Another thing I really like about the Leafboard Plus is that it actually looks like a skateboard. It actually has a tail, and for me that's so important to have, because being able to tic-tac or do a quick turn with using the tail, you apply pressure to the tail and you can quickly turn 90 degrees, is very important in an urban environment, because sometimes you're trying to maneuver between cracks or trying to move the board around. It's nice to have a tail. Another nice thing about having the tail is that you can pop the board and be able to maul grab and pick it up by the front truck really easily. So you don't have to bend your back and quickly have to pick up the board. You can just pop the tail and you kind of just pick up the board from there. So it's just nice because I'm going on and off my board, crossing streets that are kind of dangerous, and it's nice to be able to quickly pick up the board without having to touch the dirty grip tape or whatever. Now, if I do have one minor complaint about this board, and it is about ergonomics and how I use it. It's where the power button is. It's actually on the rear truck. So that's kind of annoying, because sometimes I want to quickly turn the board on, and as I'm picking up the board, I have to kind of lift up the entire board and press it on the rear. So I really wish the power button was placed kind of at the front truck or near the front of the board, or somewhere higher up on the board, so that it's easier to simply turn it on and off. With the Outtakes board, I was actually able to just hold it with one hand and tap the power button on and off from just one hand. So it was a lot easier to use the power button on the Arcboard than on the Leafboard. Another nice bonus is that they include a lot of extras, a lot of accessories with the actual skateboard. So you get a backpack, you get a skate tool, you get an extra belt, all these extra little things, a case for your remote control. It's a nice touch, and it feels like when you receive the skateboard, you feel like you're a valued customer. So overall, I'm just generally impressed with how stable and how smooth the ride is. I'm really excited to keep on using this board throughout the summer. I'm going to be posting a lot of updates, a longer term review of this electric skateboard. So please subscribe to this channel if you want to hear those updates, and let me know in the comments down below whether you like this board or whether you like the Arcboard. I'm kind of curious to know what your thoughts about it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any of them. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, James, for filming. Overall, a great board. I recommend checking them out. It's a lot better than skateboarding like that guy.
Cool.
Not cool. All right, bye guys.